Hello and welcome back for another episode of Ask Starbase. I'm Athena and today we'll be exploring extreme weather. Solarix from Discovery wants to know what can cause extreme weather, so let's go explore. To start, let's define extreme weather compared to regular weather. The World Meteorological Organization states that an extreme weather event is weather that is rare for the location, the timing, and/or it can also have an unusual magnitude. The characteristics of what is called extreme weather may vary from place to place. Examples include, but are definitely not limited to, heat waves and cold waves, heavy precipitation, flooding and drought, or tornadoes and hurricanes. April 2024 was Earth's warmest on record. The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season is predicted to be more severe than normal, and the 2024 Pacific hurricane season is predicted to be less severe than normal. These variations in weather are tied to the Earth's water cycle, which flows around the entire planet and is tied to both the environment and the atmosphere. When we change our environment by removing trees and burning fossil fuel, we create carbon dioxide that gets trapped up in the atmosphere. The water that rains down and the air that gets heated creates warmer oceans. As the oceans continue to heat up, the water cycle that flows all around the planet affects the storms and droughts and the daily temperature changes. We know this is the case because we can see from glacial cores and tree rings how slowly change occurred before the Industrial Revolution and how quickly it has changed since. The types of extreme weather affected include heat waves and cold waves. A heat wave is when the low and high temperatures for a few days are hotter than the average for that period of time. This happens when a high pressure area in the upper atmosphere gets stronger and stays over an area for a while. This traps heat near the Earth's surface. Heat waves can usually be predicted, allowing for a warning to be issued. For the United States, a heat wave is when the predicted high temperature is 90 degrees or higher for 3 days or more. Cold waves, sometimes called cold snaps or cold spells, happen when the average temperature for an area drastically drops for that time of year for a day or longer. For the United States, this is when the temperature drops below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Many areas can lose crops or livestock when this happens. The drastically colder air can turn rain into snow or ice. This is extreme weather because it can have such a devastating consequence. Heavy precipitation, flooding, and drought. A warmer atmosphere can hold more water vapor, allowing for more precipitation. The rainfall may be heavier and have a greater volume. The land may not be able to absorb it fast enough, which can lead to flooding. Sometimes the water can evaporate too fast and cause a drought. These situations depend on the area, the growth of population, and destruction of the environment. Grass and trees do a better job of controlling the weather than a house and roads do. Tornadoes and hurricanes. Tornado happens when warm, moist air near the ground rises into cooler, dry air and mixes with wind shear, a change in wind speed and/or direction with height. This unstable air mass often produces strong updrafts, which continue to grow stronger because of the wind shear continuing to increase the strength of the updraft, forming the rotation from which tornadoes are produced. Any thunderstorm can potentially produce tornadoes, but a supercell is the most common source. A supercell is a huge thunderstorm with enough energy to last for a while, growing both up and down, and can create very strong tornadoes and multiple tornadoes over hours. A hurricane is just one name for a tropical cyclone. In the Atlantic or northeastern Pacific Ocean, these are called hurricanes, whereas in the Northwest Pacific, these are called typhoons. Over the ocean, when it is still gaining strength, it can be called a tropical storm, cyclonic storm, tropical depression, or simply cyclone. Tropical cyclones usually form over large bodies of warm water, such as an ocean, as water evaporates from the ocean surface, then condenses into clouds and rain and cools, repeating quickly, building energy. Tropical cyclones are typically between 100 and 2,000 kilometers, 62 and 1,243 miles in diameter. To put that into perspective, 100 kilometers or 62 miles is the distance to our atmosphere where outer space begins for us. 2,000 kilometers or 1,243 miles is the length of the Great Barrier Reef. Ultimately, if we want to turn this trend around, we have a very limited time to do so before it becomes too late to prevent permanent damage. There are many ways to reduce your carbon footprint and bring the global temperature increase not only slower, but possibly reverse some of it. During 2020, due to COVID restrictions, there were noticeable benefits to the rest of the planet due to humans not going anywhere. Animals began returning to areas they hadn't been seen in decades, and waterways cleared up. A rare extreme weather occurrence isn't a problem on its own, but the drastic increase of them as a whole and the intensity in which they are occurring is. It's not too late to do your part and make the world a little less extreme. Thanks for joining me, Athena, on today's episode of Ask Starbase. If you have any other questions for us, drop us a line at ask@starbase-ct.com or visit our website at www.starbase-ct.com. See you soon.